We know you have a lot on your holiday to-do list. And at the UPS Store, we're here to help. With our pack and ship guarantee, your gifts will arrive intact or you'll be reimbursed. Got holiday cards to print? We're also the premier printing store. We've got everything you need for every way you holiday. Visit the upsstore.com/guarantee for full details. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, prices, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable. Come into your local store today.
Kroger Delivery has one mission: to deliver the freshest food right to your door. That's why our drivers are pros. Our trucks are refrigerated. And when it comes to low prices, we always deliver. With $20 off your first order of $75 or more, there's no better time to get in on the action. Mission accomplished. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Hey, I'm Amanda from Trifecta Fitness. We're proud to be Clarksville's new Get Fit headquarters. Trifecta Fitness is a state-of-the-art spin and strength training studio. Our spin studio is truly one of a kind in this area, complete with 20 state-of-the-art live fitness bikes and an incredible sound system. Our strength training is done in small groups of 6 or fewer, and all of our strength and spin classes are scalable for every level of experience. Come see us in the heart of Clarksville, just behind MAPCO at the corner of Old Trenton Road and Wilma Rudolph Boulevard. Call us for more info at 931-542-6265 or download our Trifecta Fitness app for a full list of upcoming classes.
In October 2019, Arlington, Texas was chosen to be the home of a new national museum, unlike any other. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a unique home of military history. The 100,000 square foot museums will house exhibits, archives, and artifacts relating to the 3,500 U.S. troops who have been awarded the medal, the nation's highest honor for valor in combat. The museum will have 31,000 square feet of galleries dedicated to U.S. troops who have received the award. The museum CEO, former Navy SEAL and NASA astronaut Chris Cassidy, said the museum will focus on education as much as preservation. The building will have 5 areas dedicated to Medal of Honor winners from the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. The main gallery will be located in a central plaza under a 25,000 square foot slab of steel, which will appear to be suspended in midair. It will be supported by 5 pillars. Black Rifle Coffee is a corporate sponsor of the museum, as are the Dallas Cowboys. The museum's board also includes over a dozen major corporations and 6 Medal of Honor recipients, including David Bellavia, Patrick Brady, and Britt Slabinski. Army Staff Sergeant Bellavia was awarded the medal for clearing an entire house by himself on November 10, 2004, as a squad leader in support of Operation Phantom Fury in Fallujah, Iraq. He killed 4 enemy fighters and wounded a 5th in close quarters battle. Army Major General Brady flew and coordinated the evacuation of 51 seriously wounded men during a firefight in Vietnam in January 1968. Slabinski, a Navy SEAL chief and team leader, led a rescue team of SEALs during Operation Anaconda in Afghanistan in March 2002. Slabinski and his team flew to a mountaintop ambush site to rescue Petty Officer First Class Neil Roberts, who had fallen from the back of a helicopter. Slabinski led the team through almost constant combat against an entrenched Taliban force. Along with the board members, former presidents Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama serve as honorary directors. The museum is expected to open to the public in late 2024.
All right. Welcome back.
Misfit Nation, the Misfit Nation show.
We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by 2 veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the Misfit Nation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the Misfit Nation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the Misfit Nation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the Misfit Nation Show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at @the_Misfit Nation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
All right. Welcome back. We got the ToosDay Crue in full effect. The executive producer is back in town to help them move the crowd. Jake is in Katie's and Steve is in God's country. Tonight we have a great guest, Army paratrooper veteran and a Leo veteran, a first responder veteran. He is doing great things for everyone around his community. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our show. And now, without further ado, let's bring you Cagney and Lacey, your hosts of the ToosDay Crue.
Good evening, everybody. Live from Tennessee, it's Steve and the resident redneck Jake.
Live from Katie's, Kentucky. I am Jake. And Stephen, I would like to welcome you to God's country.
I am in God's. I feel it. I can feel it. Can you see the light? I can see the light. Let's see how many kids get that reference.
Yes. Hey, we got a good show lined up for tonight. Got an Army veteran. He was a law enforcement veteran, and now his main focus is getting help and getting support for law enforcement and first responders. And without any further ado, let's get Matthew on here. Let's let him tell his story. Matthew.
Guys, thank you for having me.
Hey, you're very welcome. We didn't cover much in your introduction. Said that you was a soldier, paratrooper, spent some time as a law enforcement officer, and go ahead. You can start from whenever you want to what got us here to where we're at right now. And tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
All right. So I'm originally from Long Island, New York. It's where I was born and raised. When I graduated high school, I went right into the Army. I was a paratrooper with the Army for about 3 years. I wound up getting medically discharged, which not in of itself caused some issues for me, but it was the fact that right after leaving the military, my unit got deployed to Afghanistan, where we wound up losing some guys, but nothing compared to them coming back home and losing even more to suicide. So that was kind of my introduction to becoming depressed and having some mental health issues. And that progressed for quite a few years. I joined the fire department in New York for a little while as a volunteer. Did that for a bit, but I was held back by some of my knee injuries and back injury that I had there. So it took me a long time to get on my feet. And I moved to Tennessee seeking better pasture, literally. And I found myself in armed security, and after that found myself in law enforcement. And I moved from Morristown, Tennessee, which is about an hour from Knoxville to Knoxville. And in that time, I had some mental health issues that really showed their face because I didn't take care of it. So when I was in the police department, finally, which was my dream, I started to get severely depressed to the point where I was non-functional. And I stepped away from law enforcement for a couple of years, trying to better myself. And it took a long time and a lot of effort for me to get myself better. So when I finally got myself together and figured out all the issues that I was having and faced them head on, I had the opportunity again to join the police department, and they gave me another shot. And I was there for a little while, not very long, until my daughter was born, and we had some medical issues surrounding that, and I left law enforcement altogether. But in my time as a law enforcement officer, I made a lot of great friends, and I've seen a lot of critical incidences that have affected my friends and law enforcement community. And what I found was a severe lacking in services and support for our first responders specifically. There's a lot of resources and organizations out there for veterans themselves, but not a lot for first responders. And I think that's an area that's sincerely lacking. So when I left the police department, actually a little bit before, I started working on this foundation a year ago while I was a police officer. And when I left the police department, my entire focus went on to the Take My Hand Foundation. And our mission is to bring these resources to our first responders at face value so that they know that they're there, and so that they can come to us and we can pair them with these amazing organizations that we're starting to partner with, so that they can get the true immediate care that they deserve.
Okay. You mentioned something when you first started. You was talking about you were in law enforcement and you were having some mental health issues. So you kind of pulled back from law enforcement, and then you said you went back.
Yeah.
Is that normal for most departments? Where, like if you're having troubles and you got to step back, get your head right. Do they pretty much like if you get right, do they accept you back, or is it getting, or do they pretty much turn their back on you? How's that working now?
So notoriously departments, specifically police departments, but it could happen in fire departments and so on. They would turn their back on you. People, first responders, police officers, firefighters, EMTs, something happens to where their mental health is in jeopardy or they need to seek help. And once they verbalize that, the department turns their back on you, essentially. Now, it's not becoming like that now. It's turning around. The department that I was with was a phenomenal agency that really takes mental health seriously. So they understood that I was having some issues, and they understood that it wouldn't jeopardize myself on the street. But I had to prove to them that I was all there, all together.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Of course.
However, I have seen in some of my friends that I've made in the law enforcement career that specifically with this department, that if they're having some mental health issues, then they will absolutely help you and get you along through EAP, employee assistance programs, and stuff like that to get you better. But That's not in every department, and there's still a huge stigma that goes along with mental health. And the fact is that first responders are still scared to get help and to verbalize.
Soldiers are the same way.
Yeah.
And I do think it's getting better. Jake's take on stuff like this is your mental health is no different than, my mental health is no different than if I break my leg at PT.
Absolutely.
And then I do my therapy, and then I get back with the squad, the platoon. I'm ready to roll again, doing whatever my squad or platoon's doing. Your mental health's the same way. You pull back, you go to your counseling, you recover. If they have to, God forbid, they got to put you on meds because let's find a way to deal with your issues. But I think everybody deserves that chance to get back in, and soldiers, first responders, whoever, and to serve in the capacity that they were serving or want to continue to serve.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very cautious in a world that wants to put a name to everything. I'm very cautious at saying that a lot of these conditions are mental illness. Specifically with our first responders, brothers and sisters, a lot of it is mental health related injury. Just as you said, it's like breaking your leg, or you go to a critical incident that wears on you. You see things that 99% of the population doesn't see, things that nobody should see, and every time that you get put into a situation like that, it's a little injury or a large injury in your brain. And if you don't take care of that, studies have shown that within 36 hours of being in a critical incident is where you need to get mental health counseling and start going through treatment so that it doesn't take a foothold in your brain.
But like with everything else, you need to make it the norm for that to happen.
Absolutely.
You have gentlemen, you have women that got that chip on their shoulder. I'm a cop, I'm a firefighter, I'm tough as hell. No, the norm is something happened and you need to release that. You need to go seek help. You need to get counseling. You can't just let that sit there and let it build up to the point where you're going to go crazy after a while.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing right now.
Yeah. The old way of doing things is to don't talk about it, do exactly like you said, just brush it off your shoulder and just carry on.
Tomorrow's, Wednesday, let's just move on with life. No, it's not like that no more. That's not how you should live your life.
And you can stack it up, keep stacking it up on yourself for years and years and years and be fine. But it's going to trigger one of these times. And that's when, unfortunately, we have first responders committing suicide, anybody committing suicide. That's when people retire and have nothing better to do than sit in their own thoughts and go absolutely crazy.
Right. But it's not just suicide. It's, getting yourself into the bottle and, drinking yourself and it's a whole lot of other things. It's you need some kind of release, and you need that ability to do that.
Absolutely.
Now, let me ask you a question. Coming from Long Island, how was your adjustment to life at Fort Polk?
So I was actually in Fort Richardson, Alaska. And that was a drastic change in life. I went there in the middle. I went there in the middle of the winter, and I did not expect how cold it was. It was negative 25, snow everywhere. I mean, it was rough to start off with, but it was beautiful. I wouldn't have changed it for the world.
Cool. Alaska's on my bucket list.
Yeah, it's on mine too. I'll go back.
Nice. You mentioned, first responders dealing with stuff. I've got a former first responder. He was a police officer, very close to me. Mm-hmm. Young guy out on patrol, was told to respond somewhere, and shows up, and it's his first dead body suicide. And he didn't think it shook him up, mm-hmm. but it did. And they went into the weekend, and he was trying to deal with it, and decided to ride the lightning, and then got popped on a urinalysis. Only ever did it that one time, and it took out his career. And I think if he would have had a supervisor or somebody pull him in and talk to him about it, I don't think that would have been his issue.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think that everybody deserves a second chance or another chance, know. And I think that people need to be more preventative with their measures, and not only people as individuals, but supervisors, friends. They need to be looking out for each other. I've had plenty of dead body calls. I've worked at a hospital where I was security, and one of my functions was to bag the dead bodies, mm-hmm. and rebag them and take care of everything like that. And you just you don't realize what it does until it catches up to you. Mm-hmm. And I think that by having a forum like this where we can talk about it, will influence other people to take a step back and be like, wow, maybe I should go and talk to somebody for a few minutes and see if I've got an issue that needs to be addressed.
I understand. I got a question that came in from X. It said that you quickly talked about getting injured. Was it on a jump? And if you were not injured, would you still be lacing them up?
Hell yeah, I'd be lacing them. I would lace them up now. Even
Roger that, brother.
Yes. So I was injured in a jump. I was also re-injured in PT. So not everybody knows this if you're not savvy to jumping as a paratrooper. But when you hit the ground after jumping with a parachute, from statistics that I've read, it's like jumping off of a 2-story building. You don't get that big gust of air that a lot of the parachutists get that jump from 25,000 feet, and that slows you down. You just smack the ground. So the wind changed on me, and I tore a meniscus in my knee, which at some point I tried to get help for it. I tried to tough it out is what I did. And then I tried to get help for it and was pretty much told to just change your socks and keep moving on. And it progressed into something a whole lot worse. So I had to have knee surgery for it. And then I was trying to better myself and do PT again and playing basketball. And I tore the other one in my other knee. So they told me that that's it, you're done. So but to answer that question, absolutely. If I had the opportunity, and I've tried, I would jump again.
All right.
Well, see, sadly, growing up in New York City, we used to hang out with our friends who lived in a complex a couple blocks away, and we would hang jump from the second level of the parking garage all the time. And no, wait. I was coaching Little League years later, and I hopped a fence to help give out uniforms, landed on my foot wrong, and I totally blew my knee out, totally dislocated it. And it was from years of jumping 2 stories down off of garages and doing stuff like that finally caused my knee to blow out to the point, I was almost crippled, Yeah.
Listen,
you're telling that story, and people would think, 2 stories, that's not a lot. Yeah, but you do that enough, And then you hop a little 4-foot fence, and all of a sudden your kneecaps on the side of your leg. You're like, yeah, there's something wrong here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not small potatoes,
Yeah.
No, it's not. So let's dive into why we're here. Let's talk about the Take My Hand Foundation. How did you start that up? Where'd you come up with the name? And what are some things that you're doing right now?
Yeah. So, as I mentioned earlier, it really started a year and a half ago, right? I started seeing people around me not dealing with their mental health issues and having mental health issues of my own from various different occurrences. It really started taking a toll on me watching people's lives get absolutely destroyed because they refused to get help, or the fact that there was no services for them to do so. And so I went through one of my police academies. I had to go through two. And they took a big, the first one I went through didn't have a lot to do with mental health. There wasn't a lot of mental health services available, right? They had EAP and some small things. But when I went through my second one, I noticed a huge change. Now, this was a 2.5, almost 3-year gap, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed a huge change in the way that they took on mental health and the resources that they had for you and the time that they took to bring that to fruition, right? So I started this foundation as a hobby, really, just something that I wanted to do that I didn't believe would go absolutely anywhere. And over time, I brought on another person, one of my really good friends, Joshua, and he was extremely dedicated. He's an Army veteran as well. He was very dedicated to bringing this to the first responder realm, right? He noticed that there was a huge lack in it as well. So together, him and I have started just piecing things together very, very slowly, right? So a few months back, I put a post up on Facebook, and that's when you guys reached out to me. But another organization also reached out to me, Helping America's Heroes. And they're based in New Mexico. They have an equine therapy and fly fishing ranch. And essentially, they bring first responders and veterans there for free. Room and board is included. They have counselors. They have a whole bunch of people there to support you. All right. Equine therapy is supposed to be this huge help to mental health and bringing things to the forefront and helping you work through them. So we talked and we became partners in this journey. So essentially what the Take My Hand Foundation is about is bringing mental health resources to our first responders. All right.
Okay.
It's about finding these organizations ourselves that help first responders and provide these holistic and amazing resources for them when they cannot do so themselves, right? So most of the time, our first responders are just so in the weeds that at this point, they're not doing the research themselves, right? When I got super depressed at one point, I wasn't doing the research myself. My wife was, right? She found ketamine therapy and pushed me through it, right? So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to have those resources readily available for them so that a friend can reach out, they could reach out, a supervisor could reach out, and I can set them up and get them to these places.
Okay, so for lack of a better term, you're kind of like a clearinghouse or an Angie's List for all these services for veterans.
Yeah, for first responders.
For first responders. Yeah. I apologize. I spoke that wrong. So if I come to you I've got a specific thing. You just go out and you can tailor whatever place that I get sent to basically to me.
Absolutely. I can give you options, and that's something that most people don't have.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Now I'm not a vet, but from listening to other podcasts and other people talking, drugs are not the way to go 90% of the time. There are other ways to fix problems. Are we working on that also, or are we just working, okay, take this and you'll feel better?
I am not excluding medication management from my list. In fact, on my website, I've partnered with Brightside Health to give them referrals for first responders that need medication management. And it's not my job to determine whether you do or do not need medication. Some people absolutely need it to get them to a place where a holistic or a regular therapy would begin to even work. Right.
Right. That's basically what it's not. Is it only going to be, here, take this, you'll be better, or is it going to be, let's live life this way and maybe you'll feel better about this. Let's do this and you'll do better. Not just, here, take this prescription and tomorrow you'll forget about what your problems are. And I don't want somebody becoming dependent on a bottle to live their life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I'll get very personal here for you guys and our listeners. I've been on medication for the past 14 years, right? And I don't want to be dependent on medication. But what I've also found is that I needed that to get to a certain point to where I could start having the effectiveness of holistic treatments. And one day I hope to get off of them and not be dependent on them. No, I don't want medication to be the outlet. Now, for some people, it might be a start, but I want to focus on the holisticness of treatment, living different ways of life, taking different avenues of approach, not just medication. That's just a crutch to some people. Yeah.
But see, like I said, I dislocated my knee. I had my knee operated on. From the operation, babying that leg, I destroyed my other knee. Now I'm 55, and I have arthritis of a 70-year-old in my knees.
Yeah,
and
I believe it.
I wake up every morning and I take literally a handful of Aleve just to be able to walk and be able to move through the day.
Mm-hmm.
Within the last 6 months, I've lost 50 pounds.
Wow.
Just dieting my own diet, cutting out soda, eating better. So eventually I can get my knees replaced. And I want to get away from taking that 6-12 Aleve a day just to be able to walk, because you can't rely. It eats your stomach and it screws your life up taking pills every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I have a question from, I'm sorry, wrong question. From Dragon on Google. The Clarksville PD would like to link you with their wellness counselor. How do they make that happen?
Absolutely. So I've got a couple different ways that they can contact me. They can go to thetakemyhandfoundation.com, and I have multiple different ways on there to contact, whether it's from a contact form or I have an instant messenger that's on there. You can also reach out to me on my phone. It's 423-353-7267. And just have them text me, call me. I'll answer. If I don't answer, leave a voicemail and I will get back to you. And that's for anybody that's listening. You have something to contribute to my foundation. You know somebody that needs some help, just reach out.
Okay. Got another question up here. The first one, Stephen, popped up.
Well, Steve does pay attention sometimes.
Oh yeah, you do. But I saw him shift on there. How long were you in the Army? Did anyone in your family serve before you? And describe the feeling of falling out of a C-130 and the ride to the ground for those in the audience who have never experienced that awesome feeling.
Okay. So you might have to leave that up because I'll forget halfway through.
Okay.
But okay, so I was in the Army for a little less than 3 years. I didn't get the opportunity to experience the full thing before that was taken from me. My mother was in the Army Reserve, and my father was in the Air National Guard. So I did come from a family background of veterans. In fact, in 9/11, my mom was deployed to go guard the subways in New York City, and that affected me greatly and was a contributing factor as to why I wanted to become a military member as well. So I've jumped out of C-130s and I've jumped out of C-17s. C-17s, I've done both side door and ramp exits. You're in a very, very loud aircraft, right? And everybody, you have the jump masters yelling to get ready, and you stand up, you hook your line up, and you get it set, right? And all of a sudden the light turns green and everybody starts pushing forward. There's no way for you to stop with the momentum that everybody has. Everybody is just beating feet to get to that door, right? And you have your static line in your hands and you get to the door and now it's your turn, right? You just watch the last person hand their static line off, jump master take it, turn to the door, and they just disappear, right? So you hand your static line off, and this happens in a matter of milliseconds, right? You hand your static line off, they grab it, take it to them, you turn, and you jump into absolute nothingness. Everything disappears. It is the most surreal and the best feeling that you could ever have in your life. You jump into absolute nothing. And you don't feel like you're falling. You just feel like you're there. You're existing, right? And all of a sudden, your parachute opens because you had the static line attached. It opens and just jolts you up. And then again, you're just still. And you just sway in there in the air like there's nothing around you. So it's amazing. If you ever get the opportunity to go jump, do it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that.
No, I won't be jumping. Sorry.
I felt like I was there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Andrew Hunley, I left the force after 12 years, and they do turn on you and tell you to get over it and deal with it. Andrew, how long ago was it that you were in? Is the question, because I believe it's changed now. Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody?
So some departments have, not everybody.
No.
You know? But yeah, you're right. Yeah. In this day and age, it is changing. It is changing. And hopefully it continues to. And hopefully with a foundation like mine and getting on to awesome podcasts like this, I can start to break that stigma about a year ago. Wow.
Well, this is what you're going to be working at then. So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And it's very possible he was part of one of those smaller departments that just don't have that kind of resource and the ability to forwardly think.
Got a question here from Michaela Owens. Does the foundation offer a short-term recreational rehab in the meantime while waiting for a doctor to help?
We are working on that. Right now, no, we don't have a short-term rehab. We do have like Helping America's Heroes, and they operate on specific timeframes, right? I'm trying to get involved with some other organizations that are local and national that will offer you to get those services, right? I do have the ability to refer you to BetterHelp, where they do have medication management, but they also have therapy, and we're working on being able to fund that. So in that realm, we do kind of have some, but not where we need to be yet, and we're working there. So I mentioned money as being an issue. So we are actually hosting our first fundraiser on August 10th with Drop Zone Distilling Company in Knoxville as well, where we will be taking over the distillery, the Moonshine Distillery, and we'll be there selling our T-shirts and some of our apparel and trying to get some funding so that we can help these first responders. And I've also got my website, the Take My Hand Foundation, where we have our own clothing line that have our designs on it, and every proceed that comes to us will go directly to our first responders.
What date is that going to be again?
It's August 10th.
August 10th.
It's Saturday. Yeah.
Okay.
We're all about distilleries around here.
Well, I was thinking more about Old Moonshine, but
Yeah, come get the moonshine. It's a phenomenal distillery. Rod is actually the owner of it, and he was a former Army paratrooper as well. And
what's the name of it again?
Drop Zone. Drop Zone. Yep, Drop Zone. Yep.
Very good. Jay, you were thinking.
Well, me and my TBI. Me and my TBI. I could be sitting here thinking I'm buffering.
Yeah, I saw your eye wiggling up and down. I'm like, he's thinking about something. Let me ask him.
I was just getting ready to say, we've talked about a lot of things on here, Matthew, today. Covered a lot. We've covered how we can get in touch with you. We have covered some of the different organizations you work with. I'm a big fan of the equine and animal therapy. I have never had a bad day looking between the ears of a horse, ever. I try to do that quite regularly. Not as much as I was, but I try to do that quite regularly.
You are getting old.
Okay. But anyway, it's a great thing that you're doing. And like you was saying, if you get one call, one person reaching out to you after this, we've done our mission here for this evening.
Most definitely.
I know both soldiers and first responders out there that deal with a lot. Got a dear friend, first responder. Him and his son. Well, actually, it was him, his father, and his son were all three firemen. And then they were responding to a call, and somebody blew through the cordon they had set up and struck his son with a car and killed him while he was on an incident. And that's taken a lot of years to get over that.
Yeah.
And but everybody's getting through it. But we really appreciate what you're doing for our first responders, and just continue to wish you the best of luck with it.
Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Like I said, any of your viewers, anybody that knows somebody, if you need to reach out, just reach out. You guys have my information, and our president and CEO would be more than willing to even just bring somebody to their place. They have land, and they would love to just take you on their razor just to get you away from life. So, absolutely.
Matthew, can you give me 3 ways that people can help you to help others?
Yeah, absolutely. If you can buy a T-shirt from us at the TakeMyHandFoundation.com and wear that proudly, not only does that give us a couple dollars to help sock away for a first responder, but it also starts to bring awareness to our cause and our foundation. That would be absolutely appreciated. The next way would be to tell people. Just tell people. Bring it up wherever you go. If you want flyers from me or you want brochures, just message me. I'll get you them. All right. And the last way would be to either donate, and by donate, I mean either financially or with ideas. If you have ideas, you have better things that we can get involved in, companies that would help us, refer us and tell us about it, because we don't know unless you tell us.
Right. Now, do you have bumper stickers or window clings or anything like that that we could purchase also to put on the cars while we're driving and people could see it?
Yeah, I've got some stickers. They're not very big, so that wouldn't really help. But on my Jeep Wrangler, I've got stickers all over that bad boy. So I'm working on getting some big stickers. If somebody wants to support us, Joshua's wife makes them too, so we can really get after that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I just bought stickers for my wife, my daughter, myself to say, "Tell your dog I said hi." So if I can put that on the window, I can put on for your company, for what you're doing, and people will see it as I'm driving, and they'll look at that and they'll say, "Hey, that'll help somebody."
I will have bumper stickers up by tomorrow, and I will also send you guys some.
There you go. Thank you. That'd be great.
Rock on, because I can't say mine. I turned the wrenches on the Jeep Wrangler. We've got a 95 YJ. It belongs to Mrs. Holland.
Okay.
And she puts stickers and decals, advertising everything on it. So,
it's huge.
It's good to
Absolutely.
go. Matter of fact, next time we come hang around down in Gatlinburg, I'll give you a call.
I'll be there. We will be there.
All right.
For sure.
All right.
And if you guys have time, come stop by the fundraiser. That'd be awesome. August 10th.
If we can make that happen, we will. We definitely will.
For sure.
Not me, because I'll be in New Jersey, but
yeah, it's a little bit of a drive for a couple hours.
I'm only here till next Tuesday.
Well, Matthew, it has been great talking with you. I'm so happy with what you're doing. I'm glad that it's successful, taking care of our first responders. And while we're still on here, I am going to mention, I know we have this go across the bottom on a banner on the screen, but if you're out there, if you're under the sound of our voice this evening and you're not feeling great, you're seeing the darkness, you don't know what to do next, you can call or text 988, hit option 1, and somebody will pick up the phone and talk to you, or text with you if you text that number. Please do that.
Do not be afraid.
Yeah, do not be afraid. Don't take the permanent solution for a temporary problem. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. I would rather sit on the phone and listen to you vent for 2 or 3 hours than to go to your funeral. And
I would rather give out my phone number if I have to. If I have to say 973-277-2048, call me if you have a problem. There you go.
Yep.
It's that damn simple.
It is. And Matthew, God bless you, and thank you for everything that you do.
God bless you guys. Thank you so much.
Hey, I'm gonna look you up when I come to Knoxville. So
okay, I'm gonna hold you to that.
Hey, I will. Because we try to make that trip out there every now and then, and you can show me some Jeep trails around the area.
Heck yeah, sounds.
But just remember, I got to drive mine home.
Yeah, so do I. It's my daily driver.
Yeah, mine too. Well, hey, brother, you take it easy, and best of luck to you.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great night. Thank you. Thanks for being on.
Thank you.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Did you serve in the military? If so, you can obtain a free lifetime pass to more than 2,000 federal recreation sites. These sites are located across more than 400 million acres of public lands, including national parks, wildlife refuges, and forests. The lands host activities to fit any lifestyle: hiking, biking, fishing, camping, and much more. Gold Star families are also eligible for these free lifetime passes. Plus, they cover entrance fees for a driver and all passengers in a car, or up to 3 additional adults at sites that charge per person. Obtaining one is easy. Just go to the National Park Service website, nps.gov, or the National Park Service app.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.